Most men confuse love with approval. They think chasing harder, texting more, and proving their loyalty will make her stay. But here's the reality. Strong men never beg for love because love built on begging isn't love at all. It's submission. Weak men trade their self-respect for attention, while powerful men let their silence speak for their worth. When you beg, you hand over your power. You tell her you need her to feel complete. But when you walk away with confidence, you become unforgettable. Love should be chosen, not forced. The moment you have to convince someone to care, the connection is already dying. A strong man doesn't beg to be loved. He commands it through his presence, his discipline, and his standards. In this video, I'll show you exactly why begging destroys attraction, how strength rebuilds desire, and how to make her respect you without saying a word. Because once you understand this truth, you'll never chase love again. You'll make it chase you. Point 1. Love that needs begging isn't love. It's dependency. A strong man knows that love should never be earned through begging, chasing, or proving your worth. The moment you have to convince someone to stay, it's no longer love. It's control disguised as affection. Weak men call it romantic effort, but strong men see it for what it really is: emotional dependency. When you beg for love, you're not expressing devotion. You're surrendering your power. You're saying, "My happiness depends on you." And that statement kills attraction instantly. No woman respects a man whose peace is fragile enough to be shattered by her attention or her silence. Here's the truth. Women don't fall in love with men who beg. They fall in love with men who walk away when respect disappears. Because begging doesn't make you look loyal, it makes you look lost. It signals to her that you've put her on a pedestal so high that you've forgotten your own worth. And once a woman senses that, she stops seeing you as a partner and starts seeing you as a follower. Love doesn't grow in that dynamic. It suffocates. A strong man doesn't chase what doesn't choose him. He knows that real love can't be forced or negotiated. If someone wants to leave, he opens the door. If someone disrespects him, he distances himself. Why? Because he values peace over approval. He knows his worth doesn't shrink because someone failed to recognize it. That self-respect is what separates him from the crowd. The irony is, the moment you stop begging for love, that's when people start respecting you again. Because your silence communicates what words never can, that your time, your presence, and your energy are valuable. And when a man embodies that truth, he becomes magnetic. The same people who ignored him start wondering what changed. That's the power of a man who refuses to beg for love. He doesn't chase validation. He commands it through strength, boundaries, and peace. Point 2. Begging destroys respect, and respect is the root of love. Every man wants to be loved, but what most don't realize is that love without respect is nothing. A woman might feel sorry for you. She might even show affection for a moment. But if she doesn't respect you, that love will fade faster than you think. When you beg for her love, you chip away at that respect, one text, one apology, one desperate plea at a time. She stops seeing you as a man and starts seeing you as a boy who can't handle rejection. Respect is the foundation of attraction, and once it's gone, there's no rebuilding it with words. You can't negotiate respect. Here's the harsh truth. When you beg for love, you're no longer leading the connection. You're following it. You're reacting instead of deciding. You start adjusting your behavior, softening your voice, over-explaining your actions, all in the hope that she'll see your effort. But that effort doesn't make her admire you. It makes her comfortable walking all over you. Begging communicates one thing loud and clear. You'll tolerate disrespect as long as she gives you crumbs of attention. And the moment she senses that, she loses respect. Strong men understand this law. They know that love without self-respect is a slow death of the soul. A real man values peace over presence. He doesn't chase what pulls away. He lets distance reveal what's real. If she respects him, she'll return. If she doesn't, he's already free. Because begging doesn't bring love, it kills the little bit of respect that love was built on. And here's the paradox: when you stop begging, you actually become more attractive. Why? Because respect and mystery are connected. A man who can walk away creates curiosity. She starts to wonder, why isn't he trying harder? Why isn't he begging like other men? That thought plants the seed of renewed desire. Your silence reminds her of your strength. Your restraint makes her feel your value. So understand this, never trade respect for love, because true love grows out of respect. Begging for love is the emotional equivalent of digging your own grave. The moment you beg, you lose your edge. The moment you hold your ground, you rise. And when you rise, love either meets you at your level or it disappears, exactly as it should. Point 3. Strength attracts, weakness repels. It's simple human nature. People are drawn to strength and repelled by weakness. A strong man radiates certainty, direction, and emotional control. A weak man leaks neediness, insecurity, and dependence. And nothing exposes weakness faster than begging for love. When you beg, you're not saying, I care. You're saying, I can't live without you. And that phrase doesn't create connection, it creates pressure. No one wants to love someone who makes them responsible for their happiness. That kind of energy drains attraction until there's nothing left. Understand this, women are not drawn to men who crumble emotionally at the first sign of distance. They're drawn to men who remain calm under emotional chaos. When you stay composed, you project stability. And stability to a woman feels like safety. That's the foundation of attraction. But when you beg, when you plead, when you panic, you show instability. You show that you can't even manage yourself. And how can anyone trust a man who can't manage himself to lead a relationship? Strong men don't react to loss with desperation. They respond with discipline. They know that walking away doesn't make them cold, it makes them powerful. Because the truth is, if love requires begging, it's not worth having. Real love flows toward confidence, not collapse. Weakness might earn you sympathy for a moment, but strength earns you desire for a lifetime. When you hold your ground, something interesting happens. The same woman who once pulled away starts to question her choice. She begins to feel that tension again. He didn't chase me. He didn't fall apart. Did I lose something valuable? That's attraction rebuilding itself. Not because you begged, but because you didn't. That calmness makes you rare. That silence becomes louder than any confession. So remember this, begging for love never brings it closer. It pushes it further away. Strength, on the other hand, pulls people in without force. The man who stays composed, even when his heart is tested, becomes unforgettable. Because in a world full of men who crumble for affection, the one who stands tall becomes the standard. And that's the kind of man love naturally gravitates toward. Point 4. Walking away creates power. Weak men think walking away means losing. Strong men know walking away is what gives them power. Because when you have the strength to step back, you reclaim control over the one thing that truly belongs to you, yourself. The man who begs says, my happiness depends on you. The man who walks away says, my happiness depends on me. That's the difference between weakness and strength, between neediness and leadership. And women feel that difference instantly. Here's the truth. Love isn't destroyed by space, it's tested by it. When you walk away instead of chasing, you give her something to feel, the loss of your presence. Most men never let a woman experience that because they panic the moment she pulls back. They rush in to fix, explain, convince, and beg. But the moment you do that, she feels your desperation and all attraction evaporates. Women don't fall for men who cling, they fall for men who can let go. When you walk away, you create tension. You introduce silence, distance, and mystery, three things that reignite curiosity. She begins to feel your absence like a missing heartbeat. She starts asking herself, why isn't he chasing? Did I misjudge him? Has he moved on? That internal dialogue is your power. You're not chasing her anymore. Her mind is chasing you. The key is, you don't walk away to manipulate her. You walk away to protect your value. You understand that begging for attention is beneath you. You walk away with composure, not anger. You don't post quotes, throw tantrums, or try to prove you're fine. You simply move with calm confidence. And that stillness drives her crazy because it's rare. Most men crumble, but you rise. Here's the paradox. When you can truly walk away, you often don't have to, because your strength makes her come back. But even if she doesn't, you still win. Why? Because you've proven to yourself that your peace, dignity, and focus are non-negotiable. Walking away is not about rejection, it's about reinforcement. You're reinforcing to yourself that your worth isn't up for debate, and that quiet power is what makes a man unforgettable. Point 5. Emotional control is a man's greatest weapon. The difference between a man who's respected and a man who's forgotten is simple: emotional control. The moment you lose it, you lose everything: your power, your presence, your mystery. When you beg for love, you're not just showing emotion, you're showing lack of control. You're proving that your peace depends on her response. And that instantly kills attraction, because the essence of masculinity isn't how loud you are, it's how calm you stay under pressure. When she pulls away, tests your patience, or goes cold, your reaction defines you. Weak men explode, overthink, or break down. Strong men pause, breathe, and stay still. That stillness isn't weakness, it's strategy. Because when you control your emotions, you control the frame. You're no longer reacting to her moves, she's reacting to yours. That's what makes powerful men magnetic. They carry an energy that says, "Nothing outside of me can shake me." Understand this: a woman's attraction isn't tied to how much you love her, it's tied to how much you respect yourself. The moment she feels you've lost control of your emotions, she stops feeling safe around you. Why? Because safety isn't just physical, it's psychological. A woman feels safe with a man whose emotions don't collapse when things get hard. That calmness tells her you can lead, protect, and handle chaos. When you master emotional control, you become unpredictable in the best way. You don't react to silence with panic or to rejection with rage. You respond with silence, focus, and calm direction. And that composure flips the dynamic. Suddenly, she's wondering, why didn't he break? Why isn't he trying to fix this? How can he be so composed? That curiosity turns back into respect, and respect is the seed of attraction. A strong man doesn't suppress his emotions, he masters them. He feels everything but lets nothing control him. His calm energy becomes his dominance, his silence becomes his message, and that control becomes his armor in a world full of impulsive, reactive men. So remember this truth: the man who controls his emotions controls the outcome. The one who loses them loses everything. Point 6. Validation is a trap. Self-respect is the escape. Every man who's ever begged for love has fallen into the same psychological trap: the need for validation. It starts small. You want her to text back. You want her to notice your effort. You want her to reassure you that she still cares. But over time, those small wants become an addiction. You start chasing her approval like oxygen, and that's when she feels it: the imbalance. Because the person who needs validation always has less power than the person who gives it. Begging for love is just begging for validation in disguise. Here's the truth: when your self-worth depends on someone else's attention, you've already surrendered your power. Every time you reach out just to feel enough, you weaken your own foundation. You tell her, without saying a word, "You define my value." And that's the biggest mistake a man can make. A strong man doesn't chase validation. He radiates self-respect. His energy says, "Whether you stay or leave, I remain solid." That unshakable confidence is what makes women respect, desire, and remember him. Validation-seeking behavior is emotional slavery. It keeps you stuck in a cycle of highs and lows: happy when she responds, anxious when she doesn't, broken when she pulls away. That's not love. That's dependency disguised as passion. Real love grows between two whole people, not one strong person and one begging for reassurance. The moment you stop looking for her to validate you, you begin to reclaim your power. The key is to build internal validation. You earn your own respect by doing hard things, keeping your word, and living with purpose. Every time you honor your standards instead of chasing approval, you strengthen your core. You start to project calmness, focus, and quiet authority, the kind of energy that can't be faked or forced. And women feel it instantly. When you no longer chase validation, you shift from needy to necessary. She doesn't see you as another man desperate for approval. She sees you as the man who validates himself through discipline, action, and peace. That's what separates leaders from followers and kings from beggars. So remember, validation is the trap that keeps men weak. Self-respect is the escape that sets them free. And once you choose self-respect, you'll never need to beg for love again. Point 7. The man who needs nothing controls everything. Here's the ultimate truth. The man who needs love never truly has it. The man who doesn't need it but welcomes it controls it. Begging is born from need. Strength is born from self-sufficiency. When you need a woman's love to feel whole, you give her the power to define your worth. But when you stand complete on your own, love becomes a choice, not a necessity. And that's what makes you magnetic. Because women aren't drawn to men who need saving. They're drawn to men who could walk away at any moment but choose to stay. A strong man's energy says, I am my own peace, my own validation, my own foundation. That confidence is irresistible because it's rare. Most men hand over their power, hoping love will fill their emptiness. But the truth is, love amplifies who you already are. It doesn't fix who you refuse to become. If you're empty, love becomes a crutch. If you're full, love becomes a reward. That's why a man who needs nothing commands respect without saying a word. When you master this, you stop chasing connection and start attracting it. People can feel when you don't need them to complete you. They sense that freedom, that calmness, that centered power. And ironically, that's what makes them crave you more. Because emotional independence is the highest form of dominance. You're not reacting to attention, you're choosing it. You're not chasing love, you're setting the standard for it. So understand this, the strongest man in the room isn't the loudest, richest, or toughest. It's the one who doesn't need approval, doesn't fear rejection, and doesn't beg for affection. He knows that love should add peace, not replace it. And when you live from that truth, everything changes. You attract better women, better energy, and a better life, because you're no longer chasing what you already embody. When a man needs nothing, he becomes everything. That's the paradox of power. That's what makes love chase him. Conclusion. Strong men understand one truth that changes everything. Love is not something you chase, it's something you attract by who you are. Weak men beg for love because they think it completes them. Strong men walk with love because they already feel complete within themselves. Begging kills attraction, destroys respect, and erases masculine energy. But composure, confidence, and self-respect create gravity. The moment you stop chasing validation and start valuing yourself, everything shifts. People feel it. The same woman who once ignored you begins to notice your silence, your calmness, your focus. Because strength speaks louder than words. The man who needs nothing commands everything. He doesn't fear loss, he doesn't beg for affection, and he never negotiates his dignity. He knows that love should add peace, not replace it. So stop begging, stop proving, stop explaining. Instead, build yourself into a man so grounded, so self-sufficient, that love becomes a bonus, not a lifeline. Because once you reach that level of strength, you'll never chase love again. It will always find its way back to you.